of Foreign. He was consultant member of the governing body of Foreign Trade Development Center, New Delhi, 2003 to 2006. He has been associated with various corporate consulting and training programs. Holistic stress management remains his key area of interest. An accomplished trainer in integrated yoga and meditation, and a researcher in stress management. He conducts various leadership development trainings, including stress management and work life integration programs for corporate organizations, universities, and business schools. He is the visiting faculty to B schools and universities, teaching entrepreneurship, business ethics, and corporate governance, management process, strategic marketing, sales and distribution, business communication, etc. Currently, he is the chief mentor and life coach of Centurion University, Odisha. Sir, with this, I welcome to our platform to deliver a talk, also interactive session on stress management and meditation. Stress management and meditation. Welcome, sir. You can now share the screen. Our participants are meeting.
Yeah. So you can speak. Hello. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Already Dr. Ashok Misra has mentioned about me to you. I'll say briefly that after a long stint in the industry, I joined Century University in 2013 to drive the life skill program of the university. So when we're saying life skill, it includes so many things, you know, but one of them is self-development. And again, if you are talking of self-development, it means many things, many things. But one of them is that when individual takes care of one's own self, and how to do that and how to motivate, how to involve yourself in engaging people in self-development, I think is a very important aspect of any organization. So when I came to this university in 2013, I was not a regular faculty before that, barring a short stint in the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, from where I did my master's program. When I was working, actually, I used to visit places on one of lectures on different subjects related to business. And most of the times, people would talk about work-life balance. That I kept hearing from a very long time. I'm an old man, and I'm talking of the years, about late 70s. Wherever you went, people started talking about work and life integration. That's what I kept hearing. But I seldom found actually programs or initiatives where people are giving real attention to this. When I came to Centurion University, where I was very, very pleased actually to find the promoters and all those who run this university, they are very open. They too very frankly admitted that we do not have specific programs and how to do it. By profession, I'm a management man. I never made living out of my yoga and meditation. But this is one subject which always, intrigued me through my own experience and, the experience of dealing with so many people in my life in India and elsewhere. So we started working together over here in this university to drive life skill programs. And that is how I'm right in front of you right now. And I'm grateful to Dr. Ashok Misra for inviting me to this forum to share with you my experience and the world, what the world today is saying about stress management. I have with me my facilitator colleague, Dr. Gautam Kumar Mahanto, who is an associate professor with in Department of Mathematics. Dr. Mahanto, actually Gautam, is a fellow meditator. He learned meditation from me, and the group is a regular meditator. So he's the best man to help me out in creating today's module, which he has been working with me from yesterday. Well, I think we straight going to business now. We are here to understand what stress is actually and how does human stress affects our lives. A brilliant example of this morning would be, I am myself hugely stressful. I have not yet really come out of my stress because of a technological failure in the what should I say, in the system, the hardware system. And my voice was not audible. That is how we have been late by almost 15 minutes. That itself is a huge challenge for me, you see. Number one. Number two, the topic I'm going to deal with is best done when you are physically, you are physically accessible to each other, you are looking at each other, you are visible to each other, you share experiences, do certain exercises. That's best done actually. But under the circumstances, we can't do that. And that is how we're doing this with many constraints. In the first place, I would request you only one thing, which I always love to do. Invariably, I take people through different concepts and ask for clarifications after each presentation, which we have a limitations here, we can't do. But I'll spend some 15 minutes towards the end of our session today. So if you would have any questions, please note down and you ask me at that stage. I would have loved to answer to your questions through each session, which I always love to do actually. And to the best of my ability, I'll try to explain to you your queries. Okay. So let's try to understand. I'm welcoming you to the session, and our session today is stress and meditation. What is stress after all? In Hindi, stress is called tanav. In English, the other names for stress is tension. When I was in the college, long time back, I never heard the word stress in today's concept. I knew that stress is a word related to physics. But today, stress is a buzzword. Everybody is talking of stress, human stress. Everybody would say, oh, I'm under stress. In Hindi, they'll say, oh, मैं तो परेशान हो गया, मैं इतना तनाव है. So, described in so many words, what we're saying is, we are in a state where we realize that there is a demand on us to perform. If you are in the office, you are performing your official work. If you are a faculty, teaching faculty, you are after all, teaching, involved in teaching, and demand thereof on you at a given point of time creates tension. All right. Let's go. Let's have a look at an academic definition of stress, and from there we'll take on. I'm giving you a quotation from definition, not quotation, definition by Hans Selye, who is considered to be the father of stress, understanding stress. Of course, from there on, we have got today expanded understanding of stress that will come to a little later, but I'll try to make it as simple as possible from this definition. He says, stress is the non-specific response of the body, human body or physical body, to any demand. And whether that response is caused by or results in pleasant or unpleasant conditions. Okay, it talks of two things. It talks of there is a certain demand on us, as I told you. Demand on me right now is to deliver this session, you see, despite the constraints that we are facing. We are sitting at a distance at different locations, and I'm talking on a subject which could be a little abstract at times also. So I'm trying to cope. I'm trying to cope on the demand caused on me at this moment. Now, what Hans Selye says, this demand sometimes can be pleasant and unpleasant, both ways. If you love your subject, if you have the right audience, you really enjoy the demand on you. Okay? Now, when there is such a demand, the resultant consequence could be also pleasant or unpleasant for you. What he says actually is, irrespective of the fact whether it is pleasant or unpleasant, it has certain effect on your physical body. We all seem to think stress means something bad has happened. Say, for instance, the major stress, some of the examples are death of a relation, death of a member of your family, unexpected accident on the road, you are victim of an earthquake or a cyclone, you have been victim of a major economic crisis. These are the stressors. This kind of stresses have greater impact. They stay longer. Now, okay, if this is so, I gave you the example of bad stressors. There can be good stressors. Your marriage, your wedding, your honeymoon, your first job, your promotions thereof, your achievements. They too can be stressful also for you without your knowing about it. You have a wonderful party on your promotion. You have friends around, you have stayed back late. You are dancing around with joy. Now, that is also creating some stress on your physical body, at your muscular level, loss of sleep. So, whether pleasant or unpleasant, the body doesn't realize, but the body takes the battering of the stress. That is what Hans Selye says. From here, we'll go to my next slide. What are the major components of stress? The major components I have divided in under three heads actually. One is external demands. Then we have our own internal needs and values. Okay, Let's first talk of if external demand is, I am paid for working with Centurion University. I'm expected to deliver few things. Every time a task that comes to me, I weigh it against my own values. I believe in. For instance, I may not be believing in taking an exam for the students on a subject I teach. You know, my method of evaluation given a choice could be different than what I'm expected to do. But that kind of a belief or the values that I have may not match what my organization for which I work asks me to do at a given point of time. Therefore, I'm saying a demand that comes externally, in this case, actually, there's a demand from the university, or there is a demand on me right now as asked by Professor Ashok Misra to take this session. Okay. Now, this is a perfect match for me to be with you and interact with you on stress management. This matches my values. I love it. I'd like to do it. Okay, I'll walk miles with you for this. But suppose I'm asked to teach on a subject with which I'm not good at, I don't like, but yet it is forced on me. There's a conflict. The conflict is that, come on, I don't know this subject, I don't like this subject, but they're forcing on me. So these are the conflicts, you see. So at any given point of time, you have external demands for you to act, to perform. Some of them you enjoy, some of them you don't enjoy. Based on that is why I'm saying your internal needs and values are also very important. So if there is a conflict, it causes stress. Okay. I'll go to the second point. We have a demand on us to deliver. And I gave you the example that right now the demand on me is to deliver the session on stress and meditation. Now, it needs, I must have certain capacity to cope. My coping resources. My coping resources are my own knowledge, all right, one thing. My coping resources is also to set this, this communication system that we have through the laptop. And, you are sitting somewhere, like in the first 15 minutes, there was a failure in the system. So these are all resources that we have. When our resources, what the demand exceeds our resources in hand is not enough to meet the demand, it causes undue stress. Okay. Then what happens actually? To be able to manage such kind of stress, you need external resources or support. Your own knowledge, your own competence may not be just enough, but you could need external resources in terms of physical, emotional, otherwise, to meet the demand that you have. Okay, so let's put it this. It looks that stress is unavoidable. There is no escape from human stress. Then why should we have a stress management program at all? Now, yes, there are so many ways to handle your stress, hundreds and thousands of ways. You are going out in the morning walk, it's a way of managing the stress. If you're fond of a dog, people walk with dog, play with children for sake of this. That's also one of the ways to handle your stress. I'm not going to confine to what kind of stress management exactly you should have, because that would depend on a number of things. But we'll come to some of this actually. We are asking ourselves that why stress management at all? Why should the individual be bothered about stress management? His responsibility. Why should the organization also bother about the stress management? That's why we're talking of benefits. And these benefits, or the way you profit out of the stress management, is at the individual level, at the organizational level, where you are working for. So at the individual level, here I have said, it's my own coinage. Managing stress is what? Managing your health in the first place. If you don't take care of your health, and your health means not only your physical health, but also your mental health. Okay. Then, if you are taking care of your stress in so many ways, some of it we'll talk later on, that would strengthen your immune system at the physical level. We are going through a COVID time, let's put it this way. Never in the history of human life, in the human history, has ever been such catastrophic, pandemic as COVID today across the globe. So each of us have been going through huge lot of stress because of one single factor. Let me share with you. I was stuck with COVID last June, and that gave me a lot of stress. But on a reflection, I see what has been great. I have overcome it. I manage my stress also in certain ways because of my certain practice. I didn't stop my meditation during the COVID time, nor did I stop my simple things that I do on a self-reflection. What I'm trying to tell you is, I was not alone in my journey to fight against COVID, because each time I was doing something, despite keeping a physical distance, I was in touch with my close friends, my relations, my colleagues. We used to be in touch on the Facebook. And what happened really was, good messages used to come through. They were really pouring in. That gave me a lot of courage. And I took responsibility to handle myself. God is great. I'm out of it now, but you know really what happens tomorrow. Anyway, so we're talking of COVID particularly takes away or lowers your immune system. Similarly, your immune system is affected by unmanaged stress, whether major or otherwise. If you continue to remain in stress without sort of ventilating yourselves, then your immune system goes down, and you can be exposed to to whatever in your surroundings. You could easily be infected, and your health can be affected. So in other words, if you are doing some stress management, I'll come in the later part to meditation and some of the yogas, some of the exercises you do. Without that, your immune system is getting affected, actually not desirable. So through this process of meditation, we call it holistic stress management. You look at your diet, your food that you take, your sleep, all that put together improves your immune system. So for a good reason of improving your immune system, you should be conscious of the stress and you should consciously manage it. Preferably, you manage through yoga and meditation as well. There are very many plus points. We'll talk to you later on. Stress, unmanaged stress creates insomnia. You don't get sleep at night properly. Your quality of sleep is not good. You know that when you are under stress, you don't get sleep and you do many things. People think they'll smoke, they'll take caffeine, coffee, tea. Some people would even say that we'll have a peg of drink, alcoholic. That is not a real solution. These are all quick fix methods that I'll come to later on. But if you are, on the other hand, pursuing a holistic approach, then what happens? You know, that doesn't mean that you are away from stress or you'll never have stress or there has been end to your stress. But your resilience, your capacity to withstand stress increases phenomenally. So irrespective of your mental disposition, you may like certain things, you may not like to do certain things. Some people are vegetarian, some people are non-vegetarian in food habits. Some people sleep late, some people get up early. Today's context, a pilot, you know, when he's transatlantic, he's flying from one zone to the other, you know, his sleeping zones times are all affected. People working in the call center, people teaching online, you know, there is no time, what you call, you work in a time frame of your choice actually. So if you are actually taking care of your stress part of it through this holistic method, you know, you have improved sleep. So that's one thing. The third point is improved relationships. When you are under the stress, आपका तनाव जब रहता है, you are not in a mood. You don't care about relationships, or you know, you overlook the finer aspects of relationship. A calm and composed man, when you're happy, you know, you care more about relationship. You talk to your friend, you call somebody, your colleagues, you are in touch with people who have been helping you. You express your gratitude to people who have helped you, as against going into a cell in isolation. You ruminate over your stress problem. So improved relationship is a very important aspect. The other is better sexual health. Healthy sexual life would be the outcome of holistic stress management as well. I have talked more or less about it. Your mood. We are victims to our moods, you know. मेरा मूड ठीक नहीं है. लोग हमेशा बातें करते रहते हैं, अरे भाई मेरा मूड आज ठीक नहीं है. बॉस गाली दिया, मेरा मूड ठीक नहीं है. आज मूड ठीक नहीं है, मैं ऑफिस नहीं आऊंगा. We become victims to the moods. But when you are going through holistic stress management, you are really more aware of yourself. Things that appear to be so bad, if you look at it from a different angle, it's not so bad actually. So improved mood, improved memory. There are many scientific studies on this. And one thing is certainly that your capacity to recall what you remember is definitely very good when you are going through this, including your recording the events in your own brain cell, see? So improved memory. Improved thinking leading to better communication. This might sound little tall talk, but it is so. When we're talking of improved thinking, all that, you know, we keep hearing from the motivators, people come to talk, भैया positive attitude रहना चाहिए. Everybody keeps saying positive attitude. But can there be positive attitude unless you are on a clean slate? That is, the negativity is removed, then only there is room for a positive attitude or positively thinking. So when we are doing this, suppose when I come to meditation, I'll tell you, meditation is a process where it is cleansing your canvas of the mind every time. So this could lead to hopefully a different kind of thinking than getting stuck somewhere what is boldly written on a canvas in your mind, because you have been told to do few things. There could be many events, many issues that are all clustered in your mind. So if you have improved thinking, it leads to better communication also. Then reduced risk of disease, because this we have talked, your immune system is better, you are physically healthier, and if you are physically healthier, mind and body, both health are pretty well balanced, and you are a healthy person. Now, I told some of this as an individual how it helps, but is there any benefit to the organization you work for? Yes. A person who is managing one's stress better, it helps to achieve work-life balance in the organization level. In the organizations that many of you may be familiar or working with, different companies, corporate units, where you find that the work-life balance has been a catchword almost. It's a word which is being talked of so often. Now, one of the requirements is that in order to have work-life balance, the organization and individual must work together for a balance. What is the work? What is the life? Are they different? Yes. In the old school, I'm talking here of the organization that we work for, people would say, your life is your life. Your life is at home. Your relationship with your wife, your children, your home problem, they're separate. But over here, let's talk of business. You come in time, you deliver, you take a salary and you go. You do well, you get an increment. You don't get increment. If you don't deliver, we throw you out. That's how these are being seen as two different domains. And there was a dichotomy between life and work. But tell me, if you're an unhappy man at home, can you be happy in your office? Vice versa, all of us know when we are unhappy in the office, we carry this unhappiness home. You don't talk to your wife, you don't talk to your children. Your child is waiting for you to come and greet, and you are in a bad mood because there was a conflict with your boss has given you firing or whatever. So we'll talk more of this work-life balance a little later, but yes, for you to maintain a work-life balance at your level and the organizational level, okay? The individual and the organization must understand where this imbalance is coming. That's how you find there are maternal leave for the ladies, okay? There are sick leave for people. Today, what has happened actually is the flexibility of working from wherever you are. Why? Apart from the lockdown, there are many organizations asking people not to come. Stay where you are, attend to your family, yet do the work. These are the steps towards work-life balance. These are the ways you mitigate the consequential stress that comes out of work and life conflict. Okay. So the next point is, after all, is a logical outcome of the first one, increased productivity. Your productivity increases. Reduced absenteeism. I told you many times, mood nahi banta, main office nahi jaunga. You get up in the morning, your wife asks, kya daftar nahi jayenge? Arey nahi, mood nahi banta hai. Your colleague keeps saying, आज क्या हुआ? नहीं यार मेरा मूड ठीक नहीं है आज. क्या हुआ बताओ? नहीं बता नहीं सकता हूँ यार, ठीक नहीं लगता है, छोड़ो, आज मैं ऑफिस नहीं आता, बॉस को बता देना, or whatever, you know. So reduced absenteeism. The other point is improved morale. You know, we talk, how is the morale of my colleagues, which is a mental state with certain conviction. If your morale is high, you don't try to, saying in the morning, you dismiss the idea of going to office on a bump day. But if you are in a high moral state, you say, यार पता तो कर ले कैसा पहुंचेंगे ऑफिस, कुछ तो रास्ता मिलेगा, कोई रूट से निकल जाएंगे, जाके ऑफिस में काम करेंगे, यार लोग बैठे रहेंगे मेरे लिए. This is the high moral. When there is a big target given to you to accomplish, big moral helps you. Bad moral pulls you down. Then you start talking of office politics. This has happened, that has happened. You don't take the responsibility. You pass on the buck to others. So that is one example of the high moral or low moral I talked of. So if you are into stress management through holistic approach, you tend to, most likely, you will have a high moral, or a moral which is very, very complementary or supplementary to your life at a given state. Then the last point, of course, over here is improved workplace environment. If the organization accepts, we'll go through holistic principles, then many things happen. You know, the organization takes care of place where you sit. Are you comfortable or not? Do you have a little drinking water facility? You know, host of things. You know, it is to facilitate good performance from an employee through creating a healthy environment. So, if we remain stressful, we overlook human stress, we ignore all of them, it's most likely that your workplace environment is not favorable, not good. Hence, there cannot be high productivity. Now, there is, many of you must have heard of something which is called a flight or fight syndrome related to human stress. When you face a particular threat or there is certain demand on you, your body chemical changes. Very difficult to say how much you are stressed. There is no scale to measure at a given point of time that मेरा स्ट्रेस लेवल क्या है. डॉक्टर बोलेगा आप consequences of stress से आपको ब्लड प्रेशर हुआ है. This is the measurement of the blood pressure. Your blood cholesterol is high. Your fatigue level can be measured. Oxygen, you are using oximeter. In our yoga, we have a different way. Without that also you can make out if you are breathing well or not. So let's try to understand our body, which is kind of a factory almost, and it has got many things. One of them is your body chemistry. The body chemistry creates the chemicals that are good for us, that are bad for us, both. That examples are, you know, we talk of adrenaline. It is mostly used in sports, athletes. In adrenaline in excess can be bad and it can cause ulcer in your stomach. But adrenaline in certain quantity is helpful for you to tide over a challenge. For instance, the athletes, the sports people, the Olympiads, you know, they talk of what you call your chemical balance is maintained thereby. There are many other chemicals that your body produces. I can tell you in very short. When there is an imbalance, the body chemical changes. There is excess adrenaline flowing in, causing cancer, ulcer, I told you. Over a period of time, it is causing cancer. Remember, stress is not a disease by itself. Stress is not something like a bacteria, like a germ. It's lurking around in the drain or in your toilet or in your workplace. Stress is a human mind, a state of human mind, because of which your body chemicals are changing. Your biochemical system changes, and it prepares you for meeting the demands also. When it is done in excess, it affects your body adversely. So one of the ways a Russian psychologist who brought this concept fight or flight syndrome, he actually gave the example of you are going on a walk and you face a tiger in the forest. You are, people living in Bombay, they know that I keep hearing leopards walk into the living colonies. And you have gone out for a pleasant walk and you find there is a leopard on the track. What happens? You are faced with a threat, isn't it? What option you have? You have two options. Either to fight with the tiger or flee, run away. I can't tell you whether you really fight or flee. If I were you, I think I would really run away. Whether I fight or I flee, I need energy. I need resources. I need higher glucose. If I have got a wound or a cut, my clotting should take faster. So I would need that kind of chemical at that point of time. I'll be needing more adrenaline, more energy to run. Is it okay? So, whenever you are faced with a stressor, in today's context, the tiger can be replaced by your wife, tigress, or the ladies can say, the husband is the tiger. It could be your boss in the office, whom you face differently, and sometimes you question your boss, you fight, you confront, sometimes you surrender. You're very submissive. You see, this is more or less the corollary is same. So that's how it came, the fight or flight syndrome. This fight or flight syndrome we can see in these 4 stages. One of them is called alarm stage. You are going on a walk in the park, there is a tiger. Your brain recognizes there is a tiger and the tiger could kill you, attack you. So your brain alarms the body that here is the situation, that person, the organism or the individual has to do either of this. He is going to run or he is going to fight. So he needs internal resources in terms of all that I talked about. Your blood circulation improves, your eye pupils expands, you can see better where the tiger is. You need your, energy to go into your muscles. You can run fast or you can fight. So when your body alarms, you engage in this action of fight or flight reaction. Let me tell you here, I'll clarify. This is a stress response, okay? You have the tiger who is a stressor at this moment. I gave you the example of your boss, and I gave you the example of your wife, perhaps, okay, whom you are scared of. There, your response that is being created is coined by the psychologist as stress response. Okay. As against this, there is something which is called a relaxation response. So if you remember these two things, it will be easy for us. Let's not get into these complications of terminologies. There can be stress response. There can be relaxation response. And response of stress responses are many, I told you. You do things in different ways to comply with your boss's wishes, or the tiger you are facing. Now, as against which, there are relaxation response. They could be, यार छोड़ो, बॉस ने गाली दिया, छोड़ो, अब जाके बैठे जरा सोचे क्या था, मेरा सही गलती था क्या? Was my boss really unreasonable as I thought? Then you said, यार छोड़ो, एक गुस्से में उसने कुछ बोला, my boss is otherwise a nice person, we get along well, he also must be on tension. Chalo, let me go out for a fresh air, yeah? Let me go for a walk. Now this is the relaxation response. Okay? Or the other way around. Your boss has fired you, he has called you, he had explained, यार बुरा नहीं मानना, ये तो होता ही रहता है, इस पीरियड ऐसा है, कोविड पीरियड है, हमें ये करना पड़ेगा, वो करना पड़ेगा. Then these are all relaxation response. So we are talking of stress response, we are talking about relaxation response. In the later part of my session, I'll be talking more of relaxation response. How do you relax more and more so that your immunity goes up, your resilience to stress goes up, your health improves? That's what we'll be talking in the later part. I'll very quickly run through the other few points. After the alarm stage, you find your adaptation stage of the body. Adaptation stage, I told you, you are running away from the tiger, or you are fighting, and your body, right from inside, the chemicals, the glucose part, the blood clotting part, all this, they're all described through many names, many chemicals. Let's not complicate. And that happens actually because you need it. You need adrenaline for saving your life. So these are all adaptation stage. Okay? It's an attempt to regain also balance. Again, we use the word balance. And the balance is, what is the balance? We'll talk at a later stage, a little more in detail. At this point of time, let me explain to you. When we are talking of balance, breathing, balance life, it emanates from one thing which is called a balance in the nervous system. We have got sympathetic nervous system, we have got parasympathetic nervous system. Whenever we are engaged and favorably, we enjoy the work, and you are nicely breathing well, and your sympathetic, your nervous system is one side of the nervous system is activated, and you are in a state of hyper, or you are very active. As against which, there is a parasympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system tells you, oh man, don't get cool down. Tiger has run, tiger has gone. Your fight with the boss is over. Come on, yeah, relax. So you find that there is a likelihood of a balance between two sides of the nervous system, sympathetic and parasympathetic. And if you are following holistic stress management through yoga and meditation, quite likely that you are more in a balanced state. I wish I could demonstrate this. If we could meet physically, we could demonstrate it, could be shown to you how your breathing pattern changes even after a short meditation sessions. Okay. Now, what really, I'll go to the next stage just before one, I'll explain this one. No, the other one. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So here I have written over here after adaptation stage, that can be a fatigue state. What is fatigue state? When you are not able to cope with the demand, like a tiger in front of you, or a boss in front of you, or your workload overall, we call you are overutilize your resources, and your resources can get replete. And if it goes unchecked, it can lead to a state which is called burnout. It's a modern concept. Burnout is you are no more able to cope, you are continuously in stress, and slowly your system, organ systems, it will lead to failure, malfunctioning. I'll show this in another slide somewhere. Now, if all this goes unchecked, then what could happen? The fourth one is a dangerous thing, which is called termination stage. There is no lack of relief. You are exposed to continuous stress. You are making no attempt to think positively. The office situation still doesn't improve. You keep meeting tigers and after tigers on your track on a morning walk. There is no relief, and therefore that could lead to breakdown of health, including the fear of death. So I think this one slide, I hope, should explain to you that the stress response is essentially the body's emergency system. You don't remain hyper always. You don't need all the stuff right inside, unless you have a grizzly bear and you have to run away. So this is one example where there is a stress response. This is nothing. Running away the flight is the stress system. Is it okay? I hope I have. All right. This slide, I'll not go into detail. We are running short of time. I don't want you to stay back late. I should go into the next part actually. And therefore, over here, you just see, I explained to you over here on this diagram, there is on top, there is threat. Then we talked of alarm. We talked of sympathetic dominance of your nervous system. On right hand side, you find parasympathetic domain. If you read through little minutely, you'll be able to find out that when actually either side of the stress is higher, then there is an imbalance. Both parasympathetic, it becomes too much, then you are inactive, you are lazy, I mean, if you remain like that, you can become vegetable. So I'm not going to spend more time to explain this, please. Try to bear with me, just read it through. I'll be available, Dr. Ashok, you can give me my number and I'll be more than happy to answer to your queries anytime in terms of holistic stress management. Yeah. Very quickly, who all has stress? Who doesn't have stress? This picture would explain to you, people in the playground have stress, people in the, those who are unwell, they have stress, chap getting married, they have stress, all kinds of things. People even, receiving the, bouquet of flower or, even reward, money reward can create stress. So nobody has an escape from stress. Okay. Next. Broadly, there are many types of stresses that we talked of. The stress can come out of injury, out of emotional, it can be many actually. Failure in relationship can cause stress. Failure in marriage can cause stress. Career pressures, environment, physical, when you are, even the Olympiads, the best of people whom you see in best of health, they go through tremendous stress because they have to compete. So you have illness also. These are few broad stressors that I have talked about. The sources of stress in personal life, I'll very quickly run through again, I'm running short of time. Basic economic needs can create human safety, job insecurity, social insecurity, lack of self-esteem, political and economic threats, impact of technology, information systems. I'm not a very technology savvy person. So whenever I have to deliver, I remain a little stressed unduly because of my poor technological information about the technological systems, you see. That's how in the morning you had a failure of sound. Then continuing discrimination in the society, past city life, marital and personal relationships, lack of ethics, life events. I told you it could be, it could be a divorce, it could be, failure to pay your bank mortgage, and there's an earthquake, Fani, Titli, all stuff they can be. Stress at work, again, I'll very quickly run through negative office politics. Just read through, you'll understand environmental factors. There is, in your room, there is no AC to work. There is no drinking water, all stuff. Management style, management people, your management people are very, very, what you call, dictatorial, very autocratic, long office hour, inadequate training to cope with the resources on the job that you have, pace of work, lack of job security, meaningless work, boring work, lack of integration between personal and organizational goals. So these are some of them. Then very quickly, is certain amount of stress good for human beings? Answer is yes and no, both. If you know how to handle and there's a moderate stress, you're more active. Your internal resources, your body, physical level and mental level, you are more apt to cope with higher stress. I'll explain this through the human performance curve. You can see over there on the left-hand side, you have, your performance is measured in this side, your health status is on the right-hand side. And here you find, without any stress, it is quite likely that people will not work. So certain amount of stress is good, which the psychologists are calling eustress. Okay? Eustress, and as you go up, it reaches a level where there is a maximum performance. This is a very tricky thing, If the organization and the individual, they see, you don't know how much of stress is really good. Okay? So you have to be ever vigilant and, dealing with human stress. Both partners or both parties I can use, they must understand that what is happening and how much stress is good or how much stress is bad. Very, very difficult to really say, but conceptually, yes. There will be a point where there can be a maximum performance. Any amount of further pressure demand would reduce performance. It leads to the stress, which is bad stress or negative stress. And if it goes unchecked, it leads to distress. And I use the word in my earlier slide. And from here starts the burnout. If it goes unchecked, it results in poor performance, very bad performance, no performance, and your immune system goes down hugely, leading to burnout and death of the individual at some stage if it goes unchecked. That was my human performance curve. We'll very quickly have a look at how, having talked about it, what is the coping? How do we cope with stress? We have two options. One is called a holistic approach to state. That's what we are talking about in today's session today, where you become proactive. You prepare yourself. You have to go for a very important seminar you have to conduct tomorrow, and you have to drive in the morning. Have you checked your pressure on your tire? Now, this is a proactive state. Have you prepared your work? Have you done it? Or you are leaving it to the last moment? So these are the proactive approach. Similarly, in the proactive approach, you put your health in the first priority. You start preparing yourself to meet. The second option is more a reactive approach. Whenever you have a stress, then you try to fix up things very quickly. You know, in your office, you know, with your work, with your colleagues, whatever. Yeah, quick fix. Not that it doesn't work, but then it has many limitations. So we would go in for proactive approach. This slide I'll give you, please reflect on it for a minute and close your eyes and ask yourself, is it true? The Upanishads say, now just one quote here, quote and unquote. Since this is regarding yourself and suffering, let me tell you, the Upanishad people didn't know the word stress, but they mean, you know, is a suffering, and suffering would stand for stress here. Since it is the self by which we suffer, so it is the self by which we will find relief. Therefore, it needs a self-reflection, self-development. Then we'll go to the next slide. We have something out here where we say that, look, the holistic approach is freedom from stress. The stress is there, but we are free. We are not, you know, sort of locked up. Stress has its own place, but we operate through stress. And then, you know, we are talking of, if we are talking of a yogic method in which meditation is a part of it and very major part of it, then I take you through a concept, hopefully, in such a short time. You know, it's not possible, I know. I mean, we go through stress management programs for a couple of days together, right? Okay. But nevertheless, let me try what I can do. I'll take you to this slide. It is called Panchakosha Suddhi, yogic terms. In English, I have just plainly translated. Here is the human personality, and that is how you find the five seeds that we have. Kosha means seeds in English. Human personality is explained in this circles, different layers. Outer circle out there is food seed. It is called Annamaya Kosha down below. Annamaya Kosha, this seed is your muscular body, the food that you eat. Very simple, I'll put. Your physical muscular body and the food that you take. I'm not going to tell you we become vegetarian or vegetarian. Intelligent dietary, mindful diet is the essence, let me tell you. All of us know junk food is bad, but we keep taking it. Burger vis-a-vis, you know, home cooked food. Okay, if you look at it, that's how you find all this fast food is thriving today, because we are not mindful of this Annamaya Kosha. So that is what we'll take care through intelligent dietary. And asanas, physical, different asanas are there, like all of you must have heard of. Surya Namaskar is one of the best actually in this. Unfortunately, I can't show this, demonstrate to you, but yes, you go Google out Surya Namaskar, tell some of the yoga teachers around or friends, and you do Surya Namaskar one set, which is very good. If you can do other yoga, excellent, well and good. The next sit is called vital air sit. In Sanskrit, it's called pranamaya kosa. Prana is life force. Our breathing, we get prana through our breathing. The oxygen cylinder doesn't have life in itself. But when we breathe in from the nature, we are bringing in prana into our system. If you are breathing better, your life is better. Okay? I can't say enough. At this point of time of COVID, your pranayam is a must. I don't know really how to tell you to go about, but yes, you find different slides today. People are doing, be watchful and do little carefully, of course. When you learn, the best thing is to learn pranayam from trained people. So your vital air sit will do through pranayam. I might demonstrate one or two things right here after completing this, because you'll be thinking this man is keeping on lecturing and what are the examples. I should be able to show you some. Then I'll go to managing your mental seed. Mental seed is manamaya kosha, it's called in Sanskrit, and we take care of this through meditation. So in today's session, this one component we are going to highlight more. Besides others we can't do. How meditation helps, I'll come to that later, and that will be the focal thing today. Then the other inside you see intellectual seed is called Vijnana Maya Kosha, which is a reflection on intellect, your knowledge, how you share, use your knowledge in a better way. So if you do this, in the middle you find what is called a bliss or Anandamaya Kosha. You learn to become happy without putting conditions. Happiness is your birthright. One clarification, that these are not watertight compartments. Each complements the other. If you are eating good food, your vital air, your pranayam will be better, your breathing will be better. Vis-a-vis, if you do this, you can do better asanas also. Mental state is meditation. Okay. So simple steps to manage stress is through the cognitive, learn to recognize, learn to learn that yes, I have a stress and this can be handled or not. Learn to reconstruct. You may be under the wrong impression that your boss is actually bad or he meant to harm you or insult you, but it is not so. So learn to reconstruct your thought. By being aware of this, learn to recognize, then maybe you find answers to this. But if you ignore, then you don't have a chance. You don't try to recognize. That's the reason many people say, "Arey, mujhe to kuch nahi hota, mujhe koi stress nahi hai." It's a wrong thing because the person doesn't realize. Then we have used the word balance. Balancing your life between work, life, friends, colleagues, society, all this stuff is learned to balance. Okay? Very quickly, I'll just tell you about balanced breathing. What's a balanced breathing? There is a quote I have, quote unquote, by the Taoists in China. They will say, to breathe is to live. To breathe fully is to live fully. Which is, quality of your health and life depends on the quality of your breathing. Let me see how much I can do, but yes, this is true. After going through, I'll try to demonstrate this to you. Simple steps to correct your breathing. How will you know if you are breathing fully or not? properly or not, I'll take you very quickly through this slide. The art of diaphragmatic breathing. I'll tell you what you do. Wherever you are, you're sitting there, you put one hand on your chest, your left hand on your chest, your right hand on your stomach. Okay? And you breathe in slowly and you see what is happening. If your tummy or your stomach is rising when you are breathing in, it is good. If it is not happening, it's not good. Okay? And this is called correcting the diaphragmatic breathing. I'll tell you the other way around. Lie down on a floor, you just lie down, like if you know what is a Savasana. Savasana is nothing but, a relaxation posture. You simply lie down. You keep a heavy book, a dictionary or something heavy, a book on your stomach. When you breathe in, the book should rise. When you breathe out, it should fall. Okay? Breathing in and breathing out evenly is a good steps to correct breathing. If it is not happening, then what do? You keep your hand on your chest, keep your one hand on your stomach or on the book itself. When breathe in, let it rise, let it go up. When breathing out, you press your stomach a little, it goes down. Okay? So that is one of the ways to see that if it is not happening, when you are breathing in, your stomach is going inside, it's called negative breathing. The first correction of breathing, mind you, it's a very easy thing to do. If you go Google out what is a diaphragmatic breathing, you'll get to know it more. It's a very easy thing, no problem. And you can learn very easily. As I told you, very simple, lie down, put a book on your stomach. When you breathe in, the book should rise. When you breathe out, the book should fall. Is it okay? And that is how you breathe in and out. Diaphragmatic proper breathing enlarges your, your cage here in the chest, and you are able to take in more air inside. So these are some of the things. You just close your eyes and watch location of the breath, where it is. Sometimes you find down, below, middle. So you be watchful of where it is, the location. The origin of the breath. Origin of the breath is, from where it is, from where it's coming. Is it coming from a navel, from your center, or this? Let me tell you. This lower part of the lungs is one part. There's a middle part of the lobe, and there is upper part of the lobe. If you're correctly breathing, you are first filling in the lower part of the lobe, then the middle part of the lobe, then your upper part of the lobe. Therefore, the volume of air that you take is highest. Is it okay? Now, when you are in a balanced state, but likely that you are able to take more air inside. If you say, in one go I'll breathe maximum, then only your upper part is getting filled. The volume of air is still not enough. Whereas if you are breathing correctly, slowly, natural way, your lower part gets filled in, your middle part gets filled in, then your upper part gets filled in. The volume of air that you have taken is maximum. Let me tell you, this can be measured. There are many equipments today, but in yoga school, we have a different way to measure this. And I can tell you this also how you do it. You can count your breath, 1, 2, 3, by closing your eyes. Let one of your friends watch, and in 1 minute, how many times you are breathing in and out? Like, I'm closing my eyes, I'm sitting here, I'm asking my friend to tell me when to start breathing and when to end. And I breathe in and out. Each time I count. 1 in and out is 1 count. Breathe in and out, 2 count. Breathe in and out, 4 counts. Like that, you close your eyes and you count your breath. Tell your friend at the end how many times you breathe in 1 minute. He is looking at the watch, telling you, start, end. Well, it can be 10, it can be 14, it can be 15, it can be, it is normally within 20-25. One caution, in one sitting, you may not be able to correctly measure it. Different sessions, different time of the day you do it. If your average is between 12 to 14, you are normal, but in the yogic perspective, we would say that your breathing is not so good. Lesser number you breathe, better is. If you are breathing 20 times in 1 minute, it's really not good. If you go to a doctor, a specialist, he is going to tell you through an equipment that you are inadequately breathing. So what I can tell you is, if your breathing is established that it's low than 12 to 14, you have got reasons to bother. Now, I'll have to end up maybe in next 5 minutes. So let me tell you, I'll straight out go to next slide. Here I had given a slide. It's more comical. It relates to breathing. On the left-hand side, when you breathe in, you are more active. Your left side of the nervous system is more active. And then when you exhale, your parasympathetic nervous system is more active. Okay? And therefore, this is called inhibition or a relaxation response. This is called fight or flight or stress response. Either side, if it is more imbalanced, it's not good for you. On the right hand side, you become too lazy if it is inhibits you too much. So there is a balance of the autonomic nervous system through yogic breathing. This part I have done. Very quickly, I think I ought to tell you that we named it as meditation related to stress. How to do it? Well, let me tell you in a very simple way. Meditation is not something which automatically happens. You have got to learn how to meditate. And for this, you need people to train you. But I can tell you a very simple way. As of now, with all my limitations, we normally don't teach people to meditate on a distance instruction through. But yes, in today's context, it has become very, very important, and you should learn how to meditate. You please do one thing. Like I told you, on breathing, you go to the Google search and you do diaphragmic breathing. They may not be using the word pranayam perhaps, but diaphragmic breathing will learn. It tells you the basics of breathing that I have touched. That's one aspect. And this meditation and breathing, they are also connected, mind you. Now then the other one you do is, you go to mindful meditation, Google out. In the mindful meditations, you'll find several techniques. The one technique that I'm telling you, which is good, universally can be practiced, is a Zen way of meditating. And that is, if you Google out mindful meditation, you will get, where you'll close your eyes and you'll meditate on something. When I'm saying meditation, what is the object on which you are meditating is the question. And many people would perhaps mistake, and they'll say, my object of meditation is I offer a prayer. I have a deity. Well, that could be, but preferably you have an object which is neutral, which may not have any meaning, but it has got effect. So therefore, the safest course I'm going to tell you is, use your own breathing as an object. Earlier, what I talked of is diaphragmic breathing, pranayam. These are all actions. Here, I'm not asking you to manipulate your breathing, but your breathing is your very object on which you bring your awareness by closing your eyes, sit there relaxed, and you see how you're breathing in and out very gently. You just keep your watch on this. So please go to Google search, do mindful meditation, which is very easy. I'll tell you one more thing you can go. It's called ACEM meditation. That is what we teach in our university, because we have a collaboration with a research group. They are based in Norway, Oslo. You write down, please, ACEM, ACEM meditation. If you Google search, you'll get to know more about ACEM meditation. That is an insight. But you practice mindful meditation, the Buddhist way of meditation is very simple. Even Gautam Buddha also did this meditation till the end of his life. Besides, there are many other techniques I'm not going to discuss here. Meditation as a relaxation response is extremely helpful. But you use the right technique. Physically, all that you need is, you should not be in a very heavy stomach, in a light stomach. You sit down quietly on a chair, doesn't matter. I'm trying to show you, I'm sitting on a chair. My hands I'm showing you, my left hand, I put my right hand over here. Just simply keep this thing on my lap. I'm sitting on a chair. Preferably your chair is a straight back chair. When I'll meditate, what I need is my lower back should be straight. This is a little physical requirement, okay? Then, I take out my glass here, I'm closing my eyes, I'm sitting here, and I'm going to meditate. And when I'm going to meditate, there are so many thoughts that will come to mind. I have no control on them. Let those thoughts come and go. Don't try to analyze those thoughts. This could be thoughts of my childhood, my college days, whatever it is coming. My job is to each time come back to my own breathing. I'm simply watching my breathing. I'm not manipulating my breathing. No deep breathing, no shallow breathing, just the way it comes. Sometimes it comes from the navel level, goes up to the abdomen, it goes up to chest, goes down below. And you are meditating there on your breathing. In the midst of all the thoughts that are coming, you may see images, your mental state, you may be angry, you may be happy, whatever. All these things, thoughts, images, your feelings, these are spontaneous activities of your mind. You will meditate in the midst of all these activities, which are involuntary. You are not doing anything. You be a witness. They come and they go. Each time you just keep watching your breathing, how you are breathing in and out. I think with these few words, I'll thank you. Before that, I have just one slide very quickly. I'll take you back there. I'm trying to summarize this. The bad news is there is stress for everybody. The good news, the answer lies in the very word stress itself. If you take each letter, S stands for your strength. And here I have talked about your health. Your mental and your physical health is very, very important. That you will take care through the first S. T stands for thought management. Your negative and positive thoughts. Action, negative, positive is the outcome. R stands for redesigning life. You have a look at your life. Is it really what it is? Is it a relaxation response, or it is creating more stress? So you can really have a look at your life and have a life more desirable, more holistic, all kinds. E stands for empathy. And empathy is a word which, speaks so much about your own life and how you view, or how you see others connected to your life. That's the reason every leadership program that we have, we talk of empathy. And through this holistic stress management, through meditation, your level of empathy goes up. Then S stands for sharing. Well, sharing is a word, it can be goes by word. You can share your resources, you can help somebody, but if not, you can share your very thoughts, your empathy, your feelings for others. And the last one is surrender. If those who believe in God, they would say, okay, surrender to God. If you don't believe in God, you may have to surrender to the very situation you are in. when you have done your very best, but things don't change. You accept it, acceptance. Thank you very much, friends. It's a pleasure for me to have been with you. And I couldn't give you opportunity to answer each of my questions. Should you have any question in next 5 minutes, I'm here. You can ask me. Thank you.
Sir, they have the questions, but thank you very much, sir, for very excellent informative session. And most of the people, they enjoyed, participants enjoyed a lot. And sir, actually there are some 5 to 7 questions, but may I request you, all the participants, to have a personal
please.
interaction over phone, because time is very short.
Sure.
And already our register has reached. She is having a lot of work after 1:30. So soon we'll wind up the session actually. That's
Most
why.
welcome. You give them my telephone number,
Yeah,
please.
sure.
You can mail me also, WhatsApp me.
Yeah, definitely. And now I invite Anita madam and Sekhar sir to please switch on their video to take a snap. Sekhar sir. Yeah, sorry. Gautam sir, please unshare the screen. Yeah. Yeah, may I request all the participants to switch on the camera, video. We'll have a snapshot. I request all the participants. I know at the end of the session, you will definitely you want to run away from the system. But I request just wait for, because already 5 days over, and it is the 5th day last session. Just wait for another 10 to 15 minutes, not more than that. I will not make you bored. Okay, please. Okay, maybe. We're taking snapshots actually. You know that we have to send every session the photos to AICT. That's why it's highly essential for that one. So one for the first page, but the 5 to 6 pages are coming one by one. So Mr. Sujit is taking the photos. Just wait 1 minute. Okay. Well, okay, thank you. Now,
thank you, sir.
I now request each and every participant to switch on the video, because we'll have an interaction session. So, friends, we are going to now, we are reaching now at the end of the session, validated session. Before that, already 4.5 days over, assessment was over, stress management session over. And that's why now I request first from all the participants, if I request some of the participants to speak a few words, 1 minute, just like that. What is your feelings? What is your suggestions? Anything? What do you feel? I want to know something from the participants. So I request the participants, at least 3-4 participants. How did you enjoy the session? What happens? Professor Uma Maheshwar sir is there. Our Amlan Kumar is there. Professor Nishant is there. Participants, please.
Good morning, all of you.
Yeah.
This is Dr. Sagar from Pune.
Yeah.
I am attending the sessions from right from the first day, and I have been I have been associated with CFD field since 5-6 years, and I'm reading a lot of things related to CFD. But in this workshop, I came to know there are many things to do in CFD. I was learning only part of it, like 0.1% or 0.2%. But when I listen to speakers from speakers at this platform, really this is appreciable, and people are doing a lot of things in this field. So right from the coordination and content covered by all the speakers, it was really excellent, sir. I enjoyed all the sessions. And I want to thank you especially to coordinators from Century University for arranging such a nice workshop. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Sagar sir. Yes, Jishnu, please. Please unmute yourself.
Hello, sir. Sir, yes, sir. My name is Jishnu, sir. I'm a research scholar from Kerala. So, like, I've been associated with CFD since the last 7 years of my research. So, sir, like the workshop was very useful. So, one point that I would like to bring to the attention of all the participants is that, unlike the other usual CFD workshops, sir, the speciality of this workshop, what I found was that rather than jumping into CFD, all the speakers, they gave us a lot of information regarding the physics. Like for what physics are we going to use this particular CFD tool? Then again, what are the basic equations? So it is not only actually helping us with understanding CFD more, every time we are being reinforced about the physics that we are modeling using each and every tool. So that was actually very informative. Most of the tools when they used, they also saw that mostly when we were discussing about turbulent modeling and all, like from the theory of turbulence, since we start, we already know that what are the possible difficulties that we will face with each of the tool. So that I found was very helpful. Rather than jumping into a tool and explaining what the tool is all about, from the theory when we move on to a tool, from theory when we move on to the methods used, it becomes more insightful. Sir. Thank you, sir. That's what I want to say, sir. I also congratulate the whole team of Centurion University for making this workshop happen. Sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jishnuji. Anybody else? Yeah, may I request? Yeah, sure.
Hello, sir. Hello. This
Yeah,
is Dr. Prem Kumar from Kumaraguru College of Technology, Coimbatore. It's really what I can say. I really enjoyed the sessions, teach sessions, because I'm seeing Bhajinder sir after several years. I was in NAL for some time. So really, every sessions like the previous participant mentioned, from the basics they took into the application. It's a unique one, I can say. This particular Atal FDP, because I used to attend every CFD Atal FDP regularly from last 1 year. So this one is unique. I thank the organizers, especially choosing the speakers specific to our field. So really glad to be part of it. Thank you, organizers. And,
thank you, Prem Kumar sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, may I request Dr. Rupali? I think from the beginning you are very much interested taking each and every session so sportively, seriously also I have been observing. So may I request you to speak a few words?
Yes, sir. This session is a wonderful session, sir. Actually, I worked in my PhD. I used CFD, and I would say, sir, what the point of view that I got after all this FTB sessions, I could not get even during my PhD. So the way all the professors have explained it so wonderfully, it is so knowledge giving, and it was so helpful, sir. Throughout my life, I say that I can say that yes, my understanding level has raised because of the wonderful explanation of all these people. So I thank all the organizers, the exam also that you have conducted, because I've attended many FDPs on other topics also, but the sincerity and the honesty that and the pain that you all have taken, that is really outstanding, sir. So thank you all the organizers for organizing such a wonderful session and for the benefit of all of us. And all the speakers, thank you very much, sir. It was a wonderful FTP, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Rupali. Don't think that participants will be in touch, most of the participants, because wherever I attended on quantum computing CFD, still then 40 people are in touch with us. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sure.
That one. And still is CFD group. Okay. Even soon we are going to conduct also one international conference. Definitely we will be called for that one.
Sure,
okay.
Sir.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Last chance I'm giving. Okay, fine.
Good afternoon, sir. First of all, congratulations to entire team for arranging this kind of the FTPs.
Sir, may I know who is online?
Kamlesh Mehta, sir, from Gujarat.
Gujarat. Your video, can you please switch on
Sir,
your video?
actually, I am connecting through the desktop, so I am not
Fine,
having
fine.
right
Don't
now.
worry. Okay,
So
fine.
that is the only reason.
Okay, most welcome.
Sir,
Most welcome.
yes, sir. So first of all, congratulations to the entire team. All the sessions are really organized, well organized, and the contents are really good. So we learned a lots of new things through this FTP. There is a one suggestion, sir.
Okay.
If possible, if there is a recorded videos are available, so we can do also the practice, or we can also forward this kind of the session to our students, so they also learn from that. So that is a one suggestion from my side, if possible. So kindly share the recorded video, so we can also pass this information to our students, sir. Thank you, sir.
Definitely. On this statement, let me make it very clear to all the participants that yesterday we shared, except 2 sessions slide, we shared all other slides.
Yes,
You might
sir.
have seen. Okay. And
Yes.
you know that recording we have to extract and put in a Google Drive, but this link will be there for the next at least couple of weeks, definitely, or at least 1 month. So we'll be sending the recordings, everything, because it is your property. It is not our property. Okay.
Yes, sir.
It is
Yes.
drawn for the participants, not for the
Yes.
organizers.
Yes.
So definitely we will share everything with all of you. Don't worry. This link, be in touch. Also, this WhatsApp link also will continue for next 1 month.
Thank
Or
you, sir.
maybe further. Definitely, we'll in touch. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
That's why don't worry. Everything, it is your property. It will go to you. Definitely. I ensure all the participants. Definitely.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, fine. Thank you all.
Sir,
Now-
dear sir.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, this is Dr. Siva Subramanian from Kalaslingam Academy of Research and Education.
Thank you. Welcome, sir.
Maybe I'm very happy to share this feedback regarding this CFD program conducted by this Centurion University. I thank all the organizers, and especially for Sujit Mishra sir. His session was very useful to us. Maybe I am planning to have a collaboration with him if I get a chance to contact with him. Definitely it will be useful for our student community also. And the hands-on session also, we find little difficult since the internet and other issues may be there.
Yeah.
Maybe if possible, you can have a similar kind of session exclusively for hands-on training on using Simulia software.
Okay.
Yeah, this is what a request on behalf of all the participants I am put forward to this community.
Okay.
And I thank all the resource persons and the organizer of this program, Dr. Ashok Mishra sir, for giving this opportunity for us. And maybe I had a chance to meet through this platform Sagar Majumdar sir. Thank you very much, sir. We really enjoyed your session also. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay. I think anybody else? Any participant?
Hello, sir. This is
Yeah.
Sagar, sir, actually, again.
Okay.
Yesterday, actually, I have personally not received the mail of that PPT. So, if possible,
No,
can you
not
say?
mail. See, mail we couldn't send. That's why WhatsApp we gave everything. I think you might have joined in the WhatsApp group. Yesterday
Well,
we shared
sorry,
all the
I think I have
everything.
not there. I'm not there.
Please join the WhatsApp group. Okay. Because
Okay,
mail
sir.
means it will take much time. You go
Okay,
to
sir.
Google Drive again, and that one we tried a lot. That's why we put in the WhatsApp group actually.
Okay,
But
sure,
we'll
sir.
share
Sure.
again. Don't worry for that one.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you all. Now, before going to the session, may I request now Professor Shekhar Majumdar, because he is the my participants, friends. You might be knowing that in our university there is a research center called Center for Computational Mathematics, and Sir joined 6 months back, and he is the mentor of our Center for Computational Mathematics. And according to his advice, as per his advice, we have been moving since last 6 months, and due to him only, all the pride, everything goes to him. I must pay respect. This is the right platform to pay respect to him, and he is the right person who wrote and everything, and because of him, we could get this FDP. Now, this is the opportunity. May I request Shekhar sir to speak a few words? What is his experience on the FTV?
Hello, audible?
Yes, audible.
So I would say it was a, first of all, very good experience because this organization is somewhat new for me. So I must extend my thanks first to AICT for organizing and CUTM also because they are responsible for allowing us to hold this. And very special thanks will go to the person who coordinated the whole thing, Professor Ashok Misra. He did a splendid job in making it a success. So when I am looking back, I can think of these three things. One was which was very good and made it a successful venture. So C will stand concentration, coordination. That is excellent. F will stand for the fellow feeling. I think this fellow feeling is very much needed amongst all of us. And third is the devotion. Each speaker were really devoted. They have put their best in whatever they presented. So, and obviously, I would thank the organizers like the institute where it was held. So the registrar madam who is here now, to the vice chancellor, authorities, Professor Dr. Misra and Professor D.N. Rao. So I'll thank all of them for enthusing us and allowing us to hold this. And I hope this will come once again. We'll have the opportunity. So interaction was very good. And it ended up, and last but not the least, very, very high thanks, quantum of thanks to our young friend Shujit, without whom it would not have been possible. I think he has done a yeoman's service. I mean, a fantastic job in organizing the whole thing, connecting everybody to everybody. So thank you very much. I think.
Okay. Now next, I invite our registrar, Professor Anita Patra, to speak a few words in the validated section. He is the chief guest today for the validated section of the Atal FDP. So may I request her to speak few words.
Thank you, Dr. Ashok Misra, and a very good afternoon to all our participants here, friends here, colleagues here. And it is overwhelming to hear the kind of feedback that we have got for the 5-day FDP session. We were quite sure when we applied when we applied for the FDP to AICT, and when at that time we were quite sure that this is a good proposal that we are submitting, because it was done in the hands of Dr. Shekhar Mazumdar and Dr. Ashok Misra. They have been the stalwarts, Shekhar Mazumdar sir, with all his experience, and our internal team here who is working on CFD, Dr. Ashok Misra and also Dr. Professor Sujit, and the young hand also Mukundji Pandey. All these people, we were quite sure that they make a very good, sincere and very experienced team, knowledgeable team. But added to it, we got the resource persons through the network of Dr. Shekhar Mazumdar and through the efforts of all the team members. People from IISc Bangalore, we have got speakers from NAL Bangalore, DRDO, and also from the industry. So it becomes like a good combination of internal and external speakers for the FDP. So I'm sure it has been a very good learning in this field of CFD. And along with it, because of the industry 4.0 and all the disruptions we are saying, it's all now become tool-based. So you might have learned the tool also. I'm sure about the Simulia tool was there. A session was there on Simulia tool. So I'm very happy and very thankful to the team who have organized this. Dr. Shekhar Mazumdar, Dr. Ashok Mishra, Dr. Sujit, as I hear about his capability of all this coordinating and networking, and and the Mukunji. And to add to all this, after all the heavy courses, it was well organized to have Professor Shiva Kripa Bose with the stress management, which is again very, very essential. Otherwise, we all end up stressed. After learning all this, maybe we will not be able to use it if we are all under stress. So it was well thought, well organized. So I am really, really happy to get all these feedbacks in this way. When I got in, I heard all of you, and there has been 200 participants almost. So it's a big kind of event that we had. So we are thankful also to Atal for the Atal FDP to AICT that they showed trust on us and they have given this FDP to us. And I'm also very happy that everything went as planned, as desired. I am also sure that you had a good learning and you will use this further, and learning continues and good that you already have a WhatsApp group. You can keep interacting, keep discussing on different platforms. And as FDP, we know that we are all teachers and we already have some knowledge about the topic, but it is always good to sharpen our knives, which means that yes, what happens latest, we should be learning. We should learn from each other so that we really impart what is relevant to our students. So this FDP is not only for research, also for training our students. And as the UGC has been sending notifications after notifications about the new NEP policy, new skill-based education policies under it. Similarly, recently we got the multiple entry, multiple exit policy yesterday, and the academic bank of credits. I'm sure all these learnings that we are doing under this Atal FDP is going to make us prepared for those coming days. So I am with these words and with all thanks to all the whole team here, people who have participated from throughout of India, I can see, and to the coordinator and the team members and convener, Dr. Shekhar Mazumdar, for all their sincerity efforts for last 5 days. They have made it happen. So thank you all. And with this, I hand over to the coordinator. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. At the end, I will speak a few words pertaining to vote of thanks also to all the members. So first of all, I must thank our All India Council for Technical Education for giving us an opportunity to conduct such type of FDP at our university. Next, I must thank our mentor, Professor Shekhar Mazumdar, for guiding us, mentoring us in such a way that we could write and could get this FDP. We could bring it, we could get a sponsorship from the AICT. And I thanks are also due to all the technical experts who have come all the way. That means through in spite of their busy schedule, they could find time to deliver talks on the respective topics of the FDP. And participants, I must say, I have attended 3-4 total FDPs, but I've never seen such a participants. They are regular to the session, in time. Also, they have all obeyed the instructions, everything. So I must thank, because they are the stakeholders who must learn all those things. Without them, the FDP is nothing. That's why with the discipline and their cooperation, I must thank each and every participant. Then next is technical team. I must thank also through Mr. Nusya, particularly Mr. Anil, Mr. Chandan, to give a support, technical support, such that till date there is no such disturbance happened in this Zoom. That's why I must thank the team. And last but not the least, I must thank our Vice Chancellor, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Registrar, and the whole management team for support, for giving or for extending their support to conduct such a excellent faculty development program in this platform, on this platform. So thank you all again, all participants. Definitely, as suggested, you will get all the lectures, everything, and definitely in touch in future also. So thank you all. Namaskar. Good afternoon to all. Namaskar. So I'm ending the meeting. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all participants. Thank you.
So I'm ending the meeting.